Oh,
Oh, got it. Right. Okay. Nice.
it scared me. Okay. I'm Lisa, and I'm a community manager and 3D artist at Iron Gate, and I have worked here since September 2020.
Hi, Lisa. I'm Robin.
Robin.
Hello. I'm Robin. I am the first employee here at Iron Gate. I am a generalist, but on paper it says that I'm employed as a illustration, concept art to 3D modeling and some art direction, I guess.
And some rigging and
Some rigging
animation
and textures and balancing and play testing and saying yes, no, yes, no, no. Yes.
And you are quite close, right? You sound close.
Yeah.
You work close. Yeah.
He's like my unofficial lead artist. So whenever I make something, I throw it at Robin and ask him to say yes or no.
And then I go in and sit on a small pig next to Lisa.
Right.
Can we show the pig, please?
Oh.
That's the pig. I go in and I sit down on the pig, the contemplation pig, the pig of contemplation, and I say, what comes to mind?
Wow. You have like a whole routine, you guys.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna start with like my questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I have chosen some questions from me, like 3, and then I will pick the ones who are sent from the audience. But my first question is like, what do you think is the essence of gaming joy? Spelglädje is the Swedish word for it, so maybe I didn't translate it like quite right. But yeah, what's the essence of gaming happiness or gaming joy?
It's a very philosophical question.
Yeah, I like those.
I think for me, it's when I come to when I play a game and I immerse myself in the world a lot, and when I come to like small epiphanies or realizations where like, oh, I can actually do that, or something that always excites me is when oh, I can combine this and this and this, and I can do this now, or this is my play style, and I'll try to figure things out. That gives me a lot of joy when I can immerse myself and be in that world and find these small intricacies with that suits me more. I know, like back in the day with Super Mario and those games, it's not really like how do I play my own play style. You either go fast or you don't go fast. A lot of those games. But no, I don't know where I was going with that. That's my spelglädje, I think, for me at least.
Cool.
I think like the essence of gaming and game happiness for me would be like, I love these really short games that have like really smart storytelling. Like I think I have been talking a lot about unboxing the last couple of months, and I think their way of telling stories is genius. They use no words, and yet you get so much from unpacking these boxes.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. So where would you have been today if you wouldn't been at Iron Gate?
Probably at school.
Yeah.
I think if I weren't a game developer, I would probably be a teacher for children or something.
Do you
That's
mean
like
specifically Iron Gate or just gaming industry?
Yeah, you can answer both those versions if you would like to.
Sorry, Lisa, I cut you off. Please continue.
No, yeah, because I think I interpreted the story as if I weren't a game developer. if I weren't at Iron Gate, before I started Iron Gate, me and two friends were had a startup game company where we were making mobile games.
Oh.
So hopefully I would still be there if I weren't here.
Did you ever release anything?
We made a demo, but we never got so far to actually release it on the App Store.
And I would, if I wasn't at Iron Gate, I think I would still be doing my projects at home, probably leaning towards making my own game company, I guess. My view of the gaming industry wasn't that great before going into Iron Gate. Now it's amazing. My view has changed, but I think I would be doing my own game projects and trying to get into the gaming industry by forcing myself into it instead. And if I wasn't doing that, I think I would be on New Zealand doing something.
Are you originally from New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm from Sweden, but my father and my sister's New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, the next questions I have is, why do you believe that Valheim has been so loved and appreciated?
Yep. That's a difficult one.
And part of it is probably luck. We released it in a good time where people were still at home needing something to play. But I also think Valheim hits a lot of boxes for a lot of different people. You can either be someone who really likes to just fight your way through the game, or you want to build, or you want to explore, or you want to play co-op with your friends, or you want to play single player. Like there's a lot of ways to play Valheim. And I think most people will be able to find a way that suits them.
I totally agree. When we were going to release Valheim, we had like several different dates that we gave up, right? We were going to release it like in November, then December, then January, and then February, I think. But I also think it's because one thing is because a lot of the big AAA games that were released that people were looking forward to at that time didn't do that. A lot of negative or negativity surrounding those games. I believe that helped us a little bit. Like it's just a small company. It's just a small game. The game is just 1,000 megabytes. I think that Twitch helped us a lot. I think the quirkiness of Valheim with the trees falling and killing people helped a lot. I think the added difficulty playing together on stream together, showing the world like, oh, I'm dying like this, I died like that, and this is what I've been building. There's so many factors I think helped it a lot. I think that with the art style, I think it was able to get people to go, what is this? It doesn't look like every other survival game. I think there's so many things, but I think Twitch and the streaming did help us a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having the right streamers find your game at the right time means a lot for marketing the game.
Yeah. And also something as well is like when we released the game and we I don't know how big of a secret this is, but when you start selling a game on Steam, when you end up on the store front page, people tend to click it a lot and see what it is. And if it's not that pricey, people will, I'll try it out and I'll refund it later if I don't like it. And I think you can submerge yourself a long time in Valheim without even knowing, like 3-4 hours has actually gone past. So maybe we tricked a lot of people and they weren't able to refund the game. Maybe that was the secret. I don't know.
I mean, I have certainly been accused of it when I answered all of those emails weeks after release.
Oh, so many emails.
Yeah, I got like 300 every day.
And we never got the 6 clones or 10 clones of Lisa either.
Never, but we did get Josephine, and that's probably much better.
Yep. I agree. I wouldn't like 10 Lisas here at the office. It would be...
One is enough.
One is more than enough.
Right back at you.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't even like another Robin. I would be like, leave me alone.
So you people that are listening, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question, or put a question in the chat, and I will read it for you if you don't want to ask it yourself. But I will just continue with the questions that have been sent in from the Eventbrite ticket sign up. But I will always prioritize people sending questions directly in the chat or raising their hands to ask them their questions. So just feel free to ask when you just get something on your mind, or if something pops up during the conversation. But let's see here. We have some general questions from the audience. The first one is, have you always been interested in Norse mythology?
Yes, I would actually say so. I remember in 5th grade when I was 11, we used to have historical themes throughout a month or two, and we had our Viking themed month where we would learn a lot about Vikings, and I really loved that. And I think that really stuck with me. And that interest grew in high school, where I started to learn about Vikings on my own. I bought some Viking jewelry that I would wear every day. So I have pretty much always been very interested in Vikings.
Did you go to the Viking, is it in Gotland?
I have never been, but I really want to.
Yeah, so there's like a Viking, I would say Viking role play week, or yeah, so in Visby, right?
Yeah, I think it's like Viking Middle Ages.
Yeah, cool. And how about you, Robin?
I can't say that I've been super interested in Vikings my entire life. It's something that I've always been a little bit proud of, though, is when I was living in Japan and China, that we actually had something that set us apart as well as a Scandinavian culture, that we had the Vikings for a few hundred years at least. But that's something that I think is cool. I do, out of all the mythologies that exist, I do think that the Viking mythology is more interesting because because the gods actually do die, and there is a life after. Something happens when all the gods are dead as well. After Ragnarök comes, which is kind of interesting. The gods are not immortal. They're not all powerful. They have their special little powers, and they're quirky as well. But now the mythology is something that I'm more interested in rather than the Viking era, or to say.
So we have a question here from Angelina. How the art style is unique. How did you decide on the pixelated yet kind of realistic style lighting? What did you try out before deciding on the style?
So the founder of Valheim and Iron Gate, Richard Svensson, he was working on this project by himself for a few years. So it actually came together more like the necessity of, he's been working in the game industry for a long time. So he already knew that if he was going to do a project by himself, he couldn't do like AAA graphics and like things that take too long time. That means you'll never finish your project. So he scaled everything down to do like a pixelated style. Low poly would mean faster. an interesting low poly combined with the pixelated style would be something that sets it apart. But something that Richard does really, really well is lighting. And he's a photographer as well, so he loves composition. So by mixing modern lighting in games with the old with retro pixelated style and low poly models, did set it apart so much that it could be its own thing, which I think is genius, to be honest. I wish it was me, but came up with it. But it actually comes out of necessity and through the scale of a project. Otherwise, you'll never be able to complete it. People think that we do sit and do pixel art. That's not what we do. So inside information is that we actually have textures that are 1024 by 1024, and in Unity we scale them down to, like, I don't know what's the latest one. I did like a 200 for the last thing, 252, 256.
64 and 128.
Yeah, for smaller things
are quite common.
Yeah.
I use, at least.
But then we also
use
a filtering method. You can either choose like trilinear or bilinear, but we use something called nearest neighbor, which actually makes all the pixels like really crisp, and that which actually gives the pixelated effect a lot when you downscale it and then do the nearest neighbor filtering. And that means we don't have to use modern suites, texture suites like Quixel. Is that a thing anymore? Substance Painter. What 3D Coat you're using that at home, Lisa? We don't use them. I mean, we do a lot just through Krita, which is basically a free. I'll write it down here for anyone. Krita. It's free, downloadable. Just get started with it. So that's what we use daily for textures and painting and stuff.
We paint a bit in Blender.
Yeah. Especially when you're doing like seams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good to have, like, you go into Blender and you paint onto the model where the seams are, just to make the cohesiveness, so you don't really see the seams that much. Yeah. I guess that's the answer. I think. Yeah. I hope. I might be lying.
It was great to hear the history about it, like why it ended up to become what it is. And I think really creativity can be, or I mean, limitation can be a fuel for creativity.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think that's why game jams are possible, because you are so limited with the different themes, or if you have like a diversity, then you have to like stick to that, and then you make something, because you can't make it super big or super advanced.
Yep.
So the next question here is from Jenny. Was it hard getting hired into the game industry? Had you worked somewhere else within the game industry before Iron Gate? You mentioned a bit about, Lisa, your own company. You started your own startup. Was it anything before that? Did you study game or?
Yeah, I studied game animation at the University of Skövde, and in Skövde they have an incubator program where they help startups, and they have a special program for game developers. So the last term before we graduated, me and two friends joined the incubator to start our company. And when we graduated, I had to get a job because I could no longer get the student loans. And I saw that Iron Gate was looking for a half-time community manager. And while I didn't really have experience in community management, I thought that, well, that could be cool, and it's 50%, so I could still work on our startup. So I applied, and when then they asked me if I could if I was interested in working 50% community management and 50% game art. And it was a chance I didn't want to miss out on, so I said yes.
Cool.
And here we are, Lisa.
Here we are. And now I can pull pranks on Robin. It's perfect.
Yes.
And I assume, Robin, you weren't working in the game industry before. You were just you had your own projects. You told, you said briefly something about that.
Yes. So I didn't go to study in universities or anything like that. I didn't have. I spent all my student loans in Japan, trying to learn Japanese and trying to get into animation in Japan. So when I came home, I was basically I couldn't. I wanted to actually study here in Skövde, but I was like, it's not going to be possible. I need the student loans, so I decided to teach myself everything, animation and yeah, everything I know today. I taught myself. But I have been working for game companies in the wrong kind of way, where it was like, I really want to be in a game company, and they would be like, we will pay you an exposure. This will be good for you. Come join us, make art for us. Here are some exposure points. And that was my faith in game companies was like, nah, I'm gonna make my own company one day instead. This isn't really worth it. But and companies saying like, when the game is done, we will give you revenue. You will get lots of monies when we hit it big with this game. And I was like, yeah, nice, great, good. Where's my contract? Don't worry, you'll have a contract when the game is done. Like, okay. It was a lot of those things, and I was desperate. And the thing is, like, it was good though, because I did learn a lot of things. I learned like most of the freelance, like I did get some jobs where I was doing logos for money, actual real money, which felt nice, and validation that I could actually do this as well. But yeah, no, Iron Gate and Valheim is the first job I ever land for real, with a contract and money, paying enough for so I can actually live in one place and support my family and everything. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. It's tricky with these companies that wants to use you. I think just because it's your passion, they can pay you nothing.
And it's horrible,
to
be honest. But also, I'm thankful for it as well, because it was also a time where I learned a lot by like just sending in. It taught me when do I actually send in something to be able to change the feedback that I'm getting before it's too late. There were many of these processes that I learned that was like, okay, so this is about the time I should stop, send to client, get feedback, and continue iteration. Just looking at stuff a lot of times and trying to mimic what they wanted, basically.
Steven asks, what plan does the studio have going forward? How will you know when Valheim is finished?
How will we know? I think we'll know when we're done with the last biome.
When the last biome is done, when the player has finished the last boss and the lands are dark, then 1.0 shall be released on Steam.
Yeah, we've never planned for Valheim to be a like live service game. So when it's done, it's done.
We have a clear plan, basically. We have a clear vision, I guess, for when it's done at least. So it's basically when the last biome is done, Valheim 1.0 is complete.
Yeah. And now we have 3 biomes left.
Yeah.
I think.
We have some people just commenting, saying how much they like the art and lighting. But we have a question from Stephen again here. Can you talk about the design process of Iron Gate? How do you ideate and move through design implementations?
I would love to hear this from Lisa, because I only know it from my side, but it would be nice to hear it from some other perspective. Let's say we're doing a new creature.
If we need a new creature, then Richard will say we need a new creature, and then Robin and Richard, they will have a meeting discussing this new creature, and then Robin will make a concept art of this new creature, and then he will throw it at me, and then I will make a model of this creature. I think.
Yep, basically.
I feel like a lot of the design process is made by Richard, and Robin often hops on that train too. I think we also have a lot of internal discussions about how we want things to do, how we want things to be, and how we want to do things. So I feel like everyone has a voice and a chance to say, but I think this thing should work this way instead. And then we can discuss that as a team. But I would say that most decisions are made by Richard and somewhat Robin. Do you feel like I'm correct?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I feel like Richard will probably come in, and he has like some kind of idea, like, oh, wouldn't this be cool? And I think one important thing is when Richard is the lead, everything on Valheim, basically, I think it's important to go in and try to encourage and try to, like, okay, more sauce, give Richard more power if he has a feeling for something, so we can actually follow that trail, because so far it's been successful following Richard's trail. So I'm always going to be like, go in and try to, okay, all right, that's going to be awesome, cool, but also it's really important to question as well, like, but what about this, and what happens if this happens, or what about that, or this player, or this kind of player base, would they appreciate? But most of the times it comes down to, is this cool? And then we make it, and hopefully it stays cool throughout the process. Or for example, right now we're working on a big update for the game called Mistlands, which is a new biome, and that was pretty much basically me, Richard, and Henrik sitting down and trying to just write down what we want to have in the Mistlands, like a big document, like, this would be nice, how does the game loop work? But like, we have everything written down, and we're going through it and like marking them green, moving them up, like this is complete and everything and so on. But the fun thing is that we, in the middle of this process, we'll find like, oh, but this creature doesn't actually drop anything. He should actually give us something. And we didn't have that on the list. So then that gets added. And then when this is on the list now, we will be like, oh, but with this kind of material, we could actually create something like this. And we'll be, oh, that's kind of cool. So add that to the list. That is pretty dangerous. Because you don't want your list to be too big.
Yeah.
And one thing, I think
you get a lot of loose like ends if you just.
Also, feature creeping forever never tends to be good. But sometimes it is, as long as you know when to stop, and try to understand, well, is this thing that we want to put into the game, is the time worth putting into this thing if people don't really care about a rock or something like that. So it's always
be a fancy rock, like a crystal or something. Yeah,
exactly. So that comes down to we have to decide those things as well. But mostly, like, I don't know, when things need to be done, I do concepts. Richard's the idea person. He's also the programmer. I'll do a concept, and then I'll take a 5 kilo concept and I'll throw it at Lisa, and she'll just pick it up with her 2 fingers, like, boop, 5 kilos. I'll put that on my table, and she'll just make it happen. Which is, I like the cooperation we have.
Yeah, nice. There is a question here from Dylan asking, which feature in Valheim is the one you're most proud of?
Most proud of?
Mm.
For me, it's the abomination, hands down. It's not my favorite creature, but it's my most prized possession creature.
I'm very happy with the mist hair that we have been teasing. That will come in the next update. It was the second creature I made for that I have made for Valheim. I think. Yeah.
What's the first one?
The disgusting one that we can't talk about. Okay, we have a secret creature that will come with Mistlands.
Yes.
That I can't give too much information about, but I'm also very proud of that one because it looks disgusting. And I actually made myself sick while working on it.
Mistlands coming to you soon, TM, with disgusting creatures made by Lisa.
Whoa. Okay, then there's a follow-up question here. Are there any features you feel was a mistake?
I think I haven't. I feel like I don't really have much to do with like features. I think that's hard for me to answer.
A feature that was a mistake.
Or any features you had to cut late in the process?
Oh, absolutely. I have one, and I can't talk about it. So I have one.
Which one?
One day I came into work. We were sitting at the Växthuset.
Was this before my time?
I'm not sure. Maybe. Could be. Maybe. Anyway, I came in on a Monday morning. Richard said, you have to try out the new branch in Tortoise. So I jumped to and it said burning. And Richard had made so that the fires, if you made a fire in the game, small embers would shoot out from the fires. And those embers would have a chance to make a fire if they hit grass or wood or something that is basically dry, I guess. So it was a percent chance for every ember to actually make a fire. The thing was that fire then had embers coming out of it, so they also had a chance of making a fire. So if you weren't really careful, you could make a fire in your house and you'd be like, here's a fire, poof, and your house would be burning, and we didn't have a way to put out the fire.
It's like The Sims.
Yeah.
Except you can call firefighters in Sims.
You just, but in this case, I was like, my house is on fire. I'll go over here and build a new house. Basically. But that was something that was cut out of the game because it felt like you had to tend too much. We didn't have a way to put it out just there. I mean, we could definitely make a way to put out the fire. But yeah, that was something that was cut out. Maybe it was too much of... Oh, was that Richard?
It was Richard.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe
so
it's a time for a break then, so you can catch up Richard sneaking around. So
Yeah,
I will pause and share a 10 minutes timer here with you guys, and we will see each other in 10 minutes.
While we're waiting, when will we get use for flame metal ore? I guess when we get to Ashlands, if we want to keep it, I guess that could change. I mean, when I started, Mistlands was in the game when I started working on Valheim, but it was vastly different from what it is now. So Ashlands might change, and all of the things in Ashlands as well. So on with the same with Deep North as well.
Hi guys, I'm just gonna share a promo video about the Great Journey before we start the Q&A again. It's as Lisa told us before with Skövde, that has an incubator that helps startups. We here are doing the same, but here in Karlstad. So here's a video from our community.
The Great Journey is a place where you come if you're interested in making games, and you find someone and then you make games. That's it.
The Great Journey is a community.
The community.
A community.
We've got people who's been here for many years, and we've had people like joining the last couple of weeks, and everybody's equally important because the people is what makes the gaming community.
The Great Journey is a forum where people can meet and to explore an ecosystem of game development, to find like-minded people and create games.
Hanging out at the Great Journey is always kind of an unexpected experience because there's no one scheduled to be there at any time, so you don't really know who you're gonna meet there, or you don't know what you're gonna learn. So there's a lot of creativity, and you can just be yourself.
This is a place where I can meet people that are exactly as nerdy as I am, and a place where I can sit and make games.
Doesn't matter who you are or what you come from, as long as you have a vision of creating something good with some people, you can do it.
It's opened its arms, it's welcomed me into its cult.
To make new connections, meaningful connections, develop my skills and help other people develop their own skills.
This has given me the opportunity to develop, but also to learn about others' focus on their specific area of interest.
Some people are making music, some people are writing stories.
Programmers, artists. It's a place where I can share my knowledge and get knowledge in return, and together we can grow to become the best game developers that we can.
And everybody wants to improve, and everyone is willing to help. I think that's what unites the Great Journey.
The core really is collaborating, meeting up with new people to create something new.
Just our thirst for knowledge and our passion for video games brings us all together.
If you're interested in learning or developing as a game creator, the Great Journey is always welcome for you to come by and have fun.
So we're back.
That was very inspiring, by the way. I want to make my own games.
Yeah, you're welcome to join.
Should we go?
Let's make our own game, Lisa. It was really nice. But that was everything for just from Karlstad, or?
Yeah, Värmland, Karlstad, Värmland. Yeah. So we're an accelerator here who helps people who wants to make games. So
nice.
Yeah, you're welcome to come here like someday and just check it out, and
I'd love
see
to come.
the park. Like the 3rd of June, we have the Great Summer Pitch, where you can win up to 100,000 kroners from your pitch to develop your game. So it's closing in 2 days. So you people listening, apply if you want to have the opportunity to get some investing to start your own game company. And you are also welcome to come just as audience and watch other people pitch and then hang at the after party as well. It would be awesome.
Where is it?
In Karlstad.
Okay.
I will send you an invitation when the audience gets us come up. Yeah, cool.
I'd love to come.
So should we continue with the questions? You started a bit before the break was over. What were you talking about then?
We had a question in chat. We was just asking about flame metal is a resource we have in a biome that we have yet to create fully, called the Ashlands. I was just commenting a little bit about that.
Cool.
Do you want? Yeah, I can say because we're recording right now, right? So do you want me to answer it?
I'm just wondering if there were some people from the audience that weren't back and didn't hear the answer. Maybe they wanted to know what you.
All right. So anything that is in future biomes, if you find something in a future biome, for example, the flame metal ore is something that is in the game right now. Most likely, we will change that, and it'll be something else there instead. Flame metal might just be as it is, but we're not doing anything with that with flame metal ore right now, and you can't you can make a sword with it, I guess, but that might change a lot as well. Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through the questions as I did before. Stephen is wondering, do you use any user behavior tracking to drive what you focus on and changing things?
No, I don't think so. Do we track anything?
We just track what is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't track anything. We did put in Google Analytics in the beginning, I think, to try to track specific behaviors and specific things like how long would people play for, when would they stop playing, and so on. But we just felt like let's just make it interesting all the time. There was no real reason for us to track a lot of the things because we wouldn't get the metrics that we would get. Wouldn't give that much, I guess. We do go in and read a lot of comments.
Yeah.
I tend to read a lot of negative comments, at least. Only the negative comments, by the way. I don't care about positivity.
But I think I would say that's our way of tracking what's interesting and how people play. It's just reading what people have to say about the game in the Discord, on Steam, on social media.
Yeah.
M's asking, what is the most useful / best lesson that you guys have learned from your experiences within the game development?
Ask for help.
Ask for help, yes.
Yeah.
If you're releasing an early access game, make sure that the roadmap is accurate.
Yeah, if we're going back to mistakes, I think that roadmap was a mistake.
Yeah. Well, not the roadmap itself, but the amount of things in it, maybe.
And giving it a date.
Dates.
I think this roadmap was something that was quite last minute. Because I don't remember why we made it. I guess someone said we should have a roadmap, and we were like, okay.
I just remember it was explain the roadmap.
Like, what was wrong with it?
Okay, right. Yeah. So people who do not know, I think it's one of the criteria is when you release a game on Steam that is early access, you have to have a roadmap so you can publicly show that the game will be done, or these things are what we're considering to put into the game in the near future. But we released our roadmap, and I think the issue with that was that when we released the roadmap of things that we wanted to create that year, I think the amount was too much.
Yeah.
But also when we released it, we were just sitting like 5 people and bug fixing and bug tracking and fixing the game for the first 3 months. So that with that roadmap on top of us trying to fix the bugs, it was weighing down really, really heavily. And yeah, it was I think it was just like strategically bad to place dates on it. Like this is going to be done this year.
Yeah.
That the high expectations from that. I do think like if the roadmap had been this is what we want to do during early access, no dates,
Yeah,
everything
that
would be fine.
Yeah. That would have been better.
Yeah, I think so.
Because even though we did go out and say in May, I think that we explained that we overestimated or underestimated the time it would take to do all of these things. That we were putting that roadmap on ice while we keep working on the game. People still go by that roadmap. So it's very hard to shake that off.
Yep. Also,
because expectations are still there, even if we have explained that we won't be able to hit that mark.
And also, what was the question? Was it mistakes? No.
Or like what are useful lessons you learned?
Oh, useful lessons. Do not buy horses.
We didn't buy a horse, Robin.
Do not buy horses. We went out and sponsored a local riding school with 2 horses, I think it was.
I think 1 horse.
1 horse, right?
Yeah.
And
they had been struggling a lot economically during COVID, and since they are so nearby, we thought it would be nice to help them out.
Yeah. They asked for help. We sponsored them. In return, they named one of the horses Valheim, which was we thought was like, wow, look, this was a cool thing we did.
And I thought it would be like a nice community thing. Like, look.
It was, but the translation was, look, we're not working, we're buying horses, and we're just sticking our Valheim name onto horses. That's what we're doing with the money.
What? Did people actually comment that?
Yeah. They still do.
Still do.
I think the roadmap and the goddamn horse are 2 things that haunt me to this day.
Oh my.
A goddamn horse as well. Ooh. Yep. Yeah, so I mean, we could actually go into the horse market, and I think we would be good at it, like sponsoring, buying horses, selling horses, moving horses from one location to another location. I think we would be a good Team Iron Gate horse, the horse branch. Yep.
Moving horses.
Moving horses. That's what we do. We take
find a horse and we put it in another place.
Yes. That's what we do. Those are the 2 biggest mistakes, or the biggest yeah.
Okay, so the roadmap and the horse. Okay.
Yep. Don't buy horses.
I think the first one is maybe more closer to what people might make themselves as a mistake.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
second one,
I think about the horse. I think that's could tie into how you communicate things to your community and what you choose to communicate. People wanted information about the game. People didn't want to know that the local riding school in Skövde got a new horse. So
if you've got money, if you got money, don't communicate how you're spending the money.
Yeah.
Tip. Pro tip.
Oh yeah, I think that's a good tip actually. Are there plans to grow the studio? This is a question from Steven. Or is the current size setup just right?
I think we want to keep it small, but we still there's still room to grow.
We are 10 people now. How many in actual production? Is it 7, 8? How many? Jens och Lisa är inte med, så då måste det vara 8 om min matte stämmer. My math is correct. 8 people in production. Is that correct?
Am I not in production?
But aren't you one of those 8? If we're 10? What did I say, Lisa?
But you said that I wasn't in production. And
no,
I'm like...
I mean Josephine. Sorry, did I say Josephine and Jens? Josephine and Jens, sorry. You will look the same.
What does Josephine and Jens do?
Community management, mostly. They help me out with a lot of things. And Jens also does some QA testing, so in that way, since he's part of.
I was wondering, like, when it comes to community management, like when a game or anything gets like huge, it usually gets like a fan wiki. Are you running that, or is it other people running that fan wiki, putting a lot of information there?
I'm not running that. It's volunteers usually, and also the people working at the fandom has helped us out quite a bit too.
Okay, cool.
But we have a Discord channel in our server for the people who want to contribute to the wiki.
And also going back to the question is, we don't want to grow too big. We're 10 people right now. I think we want to be somewhere between 15 and maybe 20 people later down the line. The production rate that we're doing right now, I think it wouldn't benefit us having 5 extra people right now. And the way that we work very close to what we're doing right now. Spreading that over too many people would mean too much overhead work. That's my experience so far. You want to be able to manage the content that we're creating and make sure that the content is of good quality, and just looking at it so nothing actually falls between the cracks. And I think with too many artists or too many in production, you might overlook something and it'll be released, and we want to release our stuff pretty solidly. So I think right now 10 people is good. We might want to be 20 people down the line, but we need a better, or a production, aware production where it would suit 20 people but still have everyone's voice be heard, and have the right communication tools for going down the line and up the line and sideways, so everyone's always with us, so nothing becomes change in style and change in mechanics and game. Is very important to have that really close knitted ball, like, yeah.
A follow-up question is, will Iron Gate make another game in the future? And do you think it will be similar to Valheim, or would it try a different genre and setting?
I mean, unless we go into the horse moving business, when Valheim is done, we probably need something to work on.
Yeah. I think what just the way that we were talking about our new office, right now we're sitting pretty cramped in Skövde. We have Commerce, just I can see Bastard Burgers down here. We're moving to a bigger place across the street instead. But definitely we want to, one of the things that came up was like, do we want to make the office feel like Viking-y? And we're like, this is not Valheim, the theme park, or the Viking theme park. This is Iron Gate, the company, where it's nice to have the feel of Vikings because it was our first game. But I think that in the future, we would like to make something that is not Vikings. We would like to make something that is not Valheim, because making a Valheim 2 doesn't really make that much sense, because you would be taking away so much from the Valheim. If you're just making it 2.0, what's the point? I think I'm saying this now as a disclaimer. Also, I have no rights to be saying this at all. Things might come to change, and we might be making Valheim 2.0 in the future as well if we feel like it.
We're still very focused on Valheim, so it's
yeah,
very hard to say what's going to happen when that is done. Those conversations will certainly come up as Valheim and near Sit's End, but we're not really there.
No, we're nowhere close to that, even thinking about anything like that. Valheim is focus. Focus is Valheim.
Yeah. Can you tell us about your favorite moment working at Iron Gate so far?
We have introduced obligatory fredagsfika.
Oh, what's it called? It's called
LOF. Lagen om fredagsfika. The law about Friday fika.
And is it one of the community managers who is responsible to see that everyone follows the law, or?
I think I was the one who tried to jokingly trick Richard into thinking that the EU actually had introduced a law about Friday fika. He didn't buy it, but he liked the idea.
Okay, I see.
So we usually go together and get something nice to eat on Fridays.
But it seems as though it's been cancelled today, which is a sad day.
And illegal.
And illegal.
Oh no.
But I really like when we do things together as a company. And if we're talking game-wise, I think like working for a long time on a thing and then seeing it work in game, it's probably one of the most satisfying things about working with art.
Yeah.
For me personally, it's been the validation point. The validation for me is super important because I didn't come from in a university or a previous company. So in my mind, I'm not good. I will never be good enough. But there was a point where like Blizzard and Riot Games, they were writing like people from there were like, this is an amazing game, amazing art, these creatures are, and I was almost crying because it was like my heroes saying like, you're doing totally okay. And that was a huge moment for me personally and professionally. It was nice to hear that from, like, it's always nice to hear from your spouse or from your kids or from friends, like, wow, this is amazing. But in my mind, I always go, thank you. What do you even know? It's nice to hear it, but it's like getting it from someone on the same page. It's like you're doing good. That was huge for me, at least. Yeah.
So getting the recognition that you really earned. And I'm happy that you got it from those people that you looked up to.
I'm also very happy, but the thing is, nothing has changed. I'm still like, I'm never going to be good enough. I will always try to climb the stairs. I'm going to try to improve all the time. So it helped for the moment, but I'm going to continue climbing those stairs. It will never end until I'm dead in the ground.
Oh no, that's sad. But if
it's actually it's my motivation.
Okay.
I kind of see it as it is positively good, because I'll never be a master, but I'll always try to be a master.
Yeah, Angelina wrote The Artist Way. Like having imposter syndrome is, you have to have it.
Yes. And there
the
was
criteria to become an artist. Yeah.
We had such imposter syndrome. I know. I had, when we released it, I had such an imposter syndrome, and I went and talked to Richard, and he said he had imposter syndrome, and I was like, wait, then I don't have the right to have imposter syndrome. But then Eric, who was kind of new at the time, he was like, I've also got imposter syndrome, and then he was like, I don't have the right, because if you guys feel like you have imposter syndrome and you have done so much for the game, yeah. Imposter syndrome, go buy it. It's nice.
Imposter syndrome about imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, that was it. See, did we have a question from chat? No, but I will continue with the ones who are here that was sent to me through Eventbrite. So, what was the low point of the project?
I think maybe that when we release a game, and obviously that's a very high point, but it was also okay. Now we can't really work on the game anymore because we have to. We have all of these bugs we have to fix, and we have all of this influx of players that we have to take care of, and all of these emails, and it changed a lot in the dynamic of how we worked, and it took some time to find a way back.
I think it was. I remember the day I was happy again. We were doing so much work on bug fixing, and the roadmap was really weighing in really heavily, and Richard came in, and it was basically a Monday again, and he was like, let's start thinking about Hearth and Home. And for me, it was like, oh, just a weight started lifting, because I thought I was horrible at finding these bugs and trying to figure these things out. We had Jens, who came in, who was working on the bugs, and then we've got Andreas Bluma, who's working on quality assurance on the game. So it's so nice to having these people. But I remember the day when we were like, let's start talking about Hearth and Home and what it could be. And I was so excited that day. But everything up to then, it was like what Lisa said. It was so nice that it blew up. It was so great. But we still haven't celebrated the release of Valheim. We haven't had time. And it hurts so much to hear from. I mean, I only read the negative comments because that is the way to go, I guess. But when people like say that we're just out spending money, not working, we're not doing anything, it's like, well, okay, I guess so. Really, is that what we really think that we're doing? But also, one fun thing about that is, I'd like to meet the Robin who's out doing all the cocaine on the boats, and like buying all these horses and driving all these amazing cars. I'd love to, like, Robin, let's meet soon.
Where is this alternate universe? Irogate is so much cooler than us.
Yes. Sounds like they're having it, but the thing is, we're doing good here in the office, and slowly murdering each other.
I remember when we first reached out to you guys, we asked you if you were going to San Francisco for the GDC, the game dev conference, and you were like, no, we won't. And I'm like, oh my god, you're like the hottest thing on the market, and you don't even go to those places where you will be like praised and recognized. Like, are you just sitting in Sweden and working? Like, what's up?
Yeah, we were asked last year to come to GDC, but we were swamped with bugs and fixing and doing everything. Like, no, we can't go. I think it was basically the same thing this year. We're just we're doing the stuff that we. I don't know if you know about No Clip, the No Clip series, documentary series. Do you know? No, YouTube. Anyways, never mind then.
Okay.
No, but yeah, we try to work as much as we can. We only have 7-hour work days though. Right? Is that correct, by the way? I think so.
8 hours including lunch.
All right, okay.
So I guess 7.
That's true. What was the question? I don't remember.
There was what was the low point of the project, but I think you answered it.
Yeah.
So we can move on to the next one. And it's like, what would you recommend to a developer who are just starting out in a survival strategy style game?
I would say survival games overall is tough to make. It is enjoyable to create, But I think you have to take a step back and see what is being made, what's really doing well for different survival games, have their different things that are like, this is our thing. But I think you have to take a step back and see what actually do I want to do with a game, and also like take that specific area and push it. Is it going to be our art style? Is it going to be the mechanics? Is it going to be the customization? Something has to set it apart from the rest so it doesn't become the generic survival game. And I think that goes for all games, every single game. I mean, even Valheim is a very not a survival game, I guess, because you can't really die from not eating in Valheim, because we just thought like that's boring. Well, I don't want to die just because I don't want to have a meter that's constantly killing me. We want to be able to enjoy what you're building and what you're doing as well. So we're basically just calling it survival light, I guess, light survival game, more of an adventure game, I guess. What would you say, Lisa?
I don't know. But I guess it's like you say, and it goes for every game. Just try to make it stand out from other games.
At least like 1 point. Lisa, I think you froze.
Oh, or am I sitting very still?
Oh, what it did for me? Sorry. No, you were there. Hey, Lisa.
Hey. When me and my friends were working at our startup, we looked a lot at like the games we like to play. It was puzzle, point and click games, and then we were looking at like, can we make this unique in any way? Is there a market somewhere that wants to play these games but don't have a lot of alternatives? And we decided to make like a third-person point-and-click 3D game for mobile, because we couldn't find too many games on that market, but we could see that it was something that people wanted more of. I think try to find that empty space in the survival market. Is there something that people want more of but don't have a lot of alternatives to play?
Yeah, I think it's very important that you from the beginning think about your game as a product and not just as a game that you enjoy. Because if you want to survive on making games, you have to make it sell also.
Yeah.
So
like if you want to make the next World of Warcraft, like people already are playing World of Warcraft. Those people who want World of Warcraft have that game. So if you want something similar, you have to find something that stands out from World of Warcraft and also might grab other players.
But also with that being said, I think there still is room enough for video game love letters. I still think that there's
absolutely
if you really love Super Metroid, and if you can like basically clone it and you can make it like your own thing, and this is my love letter to Super Metroid.
I think the keyword there is make this my own thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. The time is up actually. So I will wrap it up and thank you, Lisa and Robin, for being here and answering all of our questions. It's been lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I was talking about this before, but I will also send this in the chat. So if you know people that are interested in starting their own game studio or already has a game studio and working with a game and would like to win funding, they can pitch at our pitch event on 3rd of June to a panel with investors and publishers that will decide who will be the first, second, and third winner. So click the link and send it to your friends and other game devs that you know that would love to, or if you yourself are interested in participating. But it's 2 days left before. it ends. But this was our last Friday story. So thank you all for joining us through the semester. And thank you once again, Lisa and Robin. Have a nice Friday.
I just want to say one thing.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I'm raising
Yeah,
my
I
hands.
was like, what are you doing?
If anyone, if there's any artists here who want to if you don't know what to do with your portfolio, and if you're unsure about your portfolio, you can find me on Twitter. And I don't know my handle on Twitter, but I'll get it somehow. But you can send your portfolio if you want feedback or anything. You can send to me.
And how are you when it comes to feedback? Do you flatter people or do you give criticism?
I want to know what their goal is first. Like where are they? What's the intention with this portfolio? And so I know what I'm critiquing.
Yeah.
As well. Because I think portfolios should be aimed towards specific things, not like this is my broad portfolio. This is what I can do. That's all fine and thing. But if you're looking for a job and you want some feedback, I can try to aim you a little bit.
Yeah,
as someone who daily gets feedback from Robin, I think he's very good at giving it.
Oh, thank you.
That's nice. I mean, the 3rd of May, we are closing the application for the game artist program that's gonna be here. And I know a lot of people are working with their portfolios to apply. So if it's okay for you, Robin, I will post it in our Discord as well and tell people that if they want to get someone else's eyes on their work, they can contact you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I wish someone would have done that for me, so I want to do that for other people.
Yeah, that's so nice to give a pay forward. Have a nice weekend, and I hope I see you soon. Bye.
This means goodbye, by the way.
Bye.